pull requests, and I'll get back to that later if you don't know what that is, recently, and it's been really good experience, and I guess people really happy about that. Hey, my code is in the core of Umbraco. My name is actually in the list of contributions, which is awesome, and it makes us really happy because unlike what you might think, we can't do it on our own. I mean, there's a lot of things that we want to do, but we have to prioritize, and that's why we need all of you to help. So there's about 50 people in this room. So in about 3 months' time, we can have all the bugs fixed that are currently open. So please, tomorrow I want to see some results. So how would you do that? How would you contribute to the core? So the first thing you could do is complain, and some people complain loudly, and this guy on Twitter actually complained about some monkey who did a weird identity column, to which Niels replied badly. Niels, you're a monkey. To my surprise, he actually wanted to kick in the balls, so that's one way you can contribute, but it's not going to get you very far. Better ways, you can do lots of things. You can help other people out on the forums. That's also really helpful for us. You can create your own packages. You can help update documentation, make some better stuff there. You can help us do translations. There's a lot of people who work in countries like China and Germany that really don't speak English very well. So we really do need, no offense. Sorry. So we really do need those translations, and we have no idea. So that would be much appreciated. You can just hand us bug reports, so other people could maybe contribute if you can't do it yourself. But after this session, everybody can do it themselves. So you can put in feature requests also in the issue tracker. Same deal. You can also fix the feature or make the feature yourself. You can contribute to Bell, I just heard. Lots of things you can do. So how would you go about doing that? So you can, if you want to do bug fixes, that's not limited to just code. You can also do CSS fixing or JavaScript or HTML, textual errors, anything that really bugs you. I've had a pull request the other day that just changed one character because the spelling of something was wrong. That's great. I mean, yeah, why not? If it bugs you, then you can help, etc. So where do you start? So if you're gonna go down the bug fixing route, if you're gonna actually write some code or do some JavaScript, CSS updating, HTML updating, things like that, then a good way to start is mostly for code is to start on the development mailing list, which is a place for people to discuss new fixes to the core, especially if you're not quite sure if you should do it, or how you should do it. Then it's a good place to start posting that and just propose a solution and get other people's feedback on it. You can also tweet us and see if you can help with anything. If you have an idea, just let us know. On the Umbraco.com website, there's a About Us page if you don't know our Twitter handles, so you can find us. As I said, report issues on issues.umbraco.org, or feature requests, or anything you can find that needs fixing or updating. If you're scared of that thing, I am also a little bit, because people come up with the craziest things. It's like, I have this load balanced environment where I have to do X, Y, and Z at the same time, and it has to be concurrent, and it can't fail, and I have no idea how it works, but it doesn't work right now. I'm like, yeah, me neither. So if you're actually scared, then try and click the very easy button, which will actually help you find issues that are pretty easy to fix. So I don't know, how can I get out of this? There we go. So I'll show you. This is actually what we did yesterday. So who's heard about the hackathon that we did yesterday? Who was there at the hackathon? You don't need to be here. You already know how to contribute to the core. So we did a hackathon, which was a big bug bash. We fixed 31 bugs in the core with about 20 people being there, and that was driven off of the issues side. And if you go there, there's under saved searches, and sometimes you have to click more. There's a very easy button. I keep the issue tracker up to date, so every time I see a new issue appearing, I'll estimate if it's for you, if it should be pretty easy to fix, and I'll update. So this search gets updated automatically all the time. There's also very hard, and so that's for the geniuses out there. Just start on that one. Right. I don't want a new sheet. Yes, we did that. Cool. Hackathon I already mentioned, and I think there's another one coming up in Belgium, November 17th. So if you're near Belgium that time, then swing by. So cool. How do I get that? How do I start fixing the code of Umbraco? So you go to Codeplex, you go to umbraco.codeplex.com, and actually you can create a fork there. Or if you want to do some documentation or translations, we have projects for that on GitHub. And this is all explained on our Umbraco. I'll show you that in a minute. But there's some separate projects on GitHub. Just as Lee said, it's a bit easier to do actually online editing in GitHub. So that's why we decided to put that stuff there, because it's just text that you're updating. So not code that needs to be built and stuff. So let's see. You can fork that at Codeplex and open it up in Visual Studio. And then you'll have to set the startup project and your web config, and I'll show you that right now. So why am I looking at the screen? I can see it here as well. All right, so we have the source code right here. And there's a new button here somewhere. There you go. If you hit fork, I already have one fork called Umbraco. You usually just need one fork. Some people are confused and think they need a fork for each issue that they're fixing. It's not really necessary, especially to make my life a little bit easier, because I'm going to have to download all your forks, and it takes about 15 minutes every time. Create one fork, and every time you have a pull request, just do it in the same fork, and we can just sync, and that's no problem. This is all explained on the contribute site, which is at ourumbraco.org/contribute. So you give the fork a name and a description. It doesn't really matter what it says, but then after that you can start cloning it, and that's just the normal setup you do in Mercurial. So you hit the clone button, you copy the URL, and start downloading the source code. Which then, if you open it up in Visual Studio 2012 or 2010, it looks a bit like this. I think this default startup project, which I need to change somehow, is umbraco.web. So you need to change it to umbraco.web, the UI, to start working with it. And from there on out, you just hit F5. There will be a web config automatically created for you. I just noticed yesterday that it didn't work very well, so I'm updating that soon. But it will be created for you with a blank web config, and you can start developing immediately. It will open a browser window. You can install Umbraco on that and start looking at developing on the core. Right, so it's that easy. You just hit F5 and you're done. and you get the normal Umbraco installer. Right. So once you're quite happy with what you've done, then you can send us a pull request or a patch. And I don't know, what's a patch and what's a pull request? Well, there are two different concepts. For smallish fixes, 1 or 2 change sets, I really prefer that you send in the patch, because that will make it much easier for me to integrate it immediately into the core. And I don't have to sync with your pull request. Pull request basically is a way of letting us know that there is a updated, your fork has been updated and you have pushed that updated version to CodePlex. I can then download your fork and then start syncing that with the current Umbraco version. You know, that's a bit cumbersome. So if it's just a few changes, then don't worry about it. Just send a patch. How do you make a patch? Very easy. You go into your TortoISE AG or whatever you're using, and it's probably all of the clients support it, and it's probably supported on the command line as well. But I'm not sure about that one because I don't use it. You right-click your change set that you have. You go to export and then export patch, and it will just give you a simple text file which lists the changes between the current version or the previous version that you had and the current version. So I exported it here. If I have a look at it in Notepad, it will just say, on this line, things have changed from this into that, and that's just really easy to apply to any version that we have. So that's just a text file. We discovered yesterday that it doesn't, if you include images or other binary files, it doesn't actually include them in the patch. I was hoping it would just base 64 encode them or something, but it doesn't include them. So make sure to send. It's easier to send a pull request for things that include binary files actually. So what I then do if I get your patch, and this is something you can do yourself as well. It's really easy actually to, if you want to do some work and don't really want to push it to the repo yet. So now I'm going to get into the settings of TortoISE. There's a hidden setting there, which is really cool. It's called extensions, and then you go to MQ, and MQ allows you to actually.
I'm just amazed by the logic.
Yes, it's very descriptive as well. It's like, what is MQ? Well, it allows you to modify the history. So if you haven't pushed this yet, you can actually just strip out this change set and just, it's gone. So it's not in your repo anymore. And what I then can do is re-import it, and it will just be back. So that's what I do usually when I get your pull requests. It's just import it on top of whatever version I have right now, build it, see, look at the code, see if it's actually working, and if it is working, then I can just now hit the push button, and it will go to the main CodePlex repo. So that's maybe a bit technical, but it's really fun to play with, and it's saved my ass a couple of times. Right, so the difference between a pull request and a patch is actually that the pull request goes through CodePlex, and I have to sync with your version, and the patch I can just simply apply by hitting the import button. And as I said, I will then review your code. What do I look at? And other people do this as well, by the way. And you can actually help do this as well. I would love people to actually help review other people's code. So because I don't understand some of these things. It's like, yeah, concurrency locking. It's like, okay, so I have to ask somebody else to do it sometimes. So what I usually look at is there a work item attached? So is there an issue on issues.umbraco.org that describes what exactly you're fixing? Also, a good commit message helps me a lot. Include the work item ID in there. That's pretty convenient. We're also looking at combining our Team City install, which is an automated build server, with the issue tracker. They're both built by JetBrains, so they integrate somewhat. And if you mention the issue number, then we can also attach that to automatically attach that to a issue in UTrack. So it gets. In theory, it should get the resolved status or the fixed status automatically. I haven't made it work completely yet, but we're getting there. So work item ID is important in your commit message. Think about, does this break anything, especially for patch releases or minor releases. If it's not a major release, then if it's going to break anything, if you change a public method or if you change the way people expect Umbraco to work, then think about that, discuss that with us first, because it's really hard to give people all these breaking changes all the time. So we're trying to back off of doing actual breaking changes, which makes the upgrade path easier and things like that. So please do contact us first, or maybe you'll have to wait 3-4 months for your patch to be applied to the current source, or to that source at that moment. I look at the coding standards that we've set. So as I said before, the documentation is on our Umbraco/documentation. And we've got the guidelines here, and they also list the coding standards, which are a document on GitHub. Generally, if you have a ReSharper installed, it will suggest the correct coding standards for you. So that's a big bonus if you have that. And if you don't follow them, I will just reject whatever you've put in, so don't be scared. No, I'll be nice about it. But just it's nice to have for us to have a good coding standards. Well, of course, it has to do what it says it does. I mean, it has to actually fix the item. It has to actually work. So that's also the next thing I look at. Is that, okay, can I reproduce the previous state and a new state? Does it actually fix the bug? Does your contribution add any value to Umbraco? It's really hard to know that beforehand. So if you're not sure, just contact me or anybody else on the core team and discuss that, or use the development mailing list again. Make sure that we actually want this change in the core, else you'll be doing work for nothing, and that's just a waste of time where you could have done really good fixes. So. And the final one is I look at the security implications, and generally I try to follow the what are they called, the OWASP recommendations. So if there's anything that has anything to do with having to log in or cookies or things like that, really have to really be sure that it's the right solution. That's not going to open up the whole back office to some random guy typing in a URL with a query string or something like that. Right. That's about it. So I think I'm running a bit fast, but I hope you have some questions so I can fill up some more time. Does anybody have any questions? Wow, I was really clear. There you go. Oh, sorry. Good point. I forgot to say that. If you have any new code that you want to put in, it would be really great if you could write some unit tests. I know that not everybody is familiar with that and doesn't know really how to do that. But yes, we would love to have some more unit tests in there. There's 437 now. 20 of which are still failing, so we should fix those. But at least they're consistently failing, so we know where the problem areas are. But as soon as I see that number go up to 100, there must be something wrong. So yeah, good question. Yeah, over here, question.
Patches, where are they sent to?
The patches you can just attach to the issue on the issue tracker. So it's just an attachment. It's really easy. Back there, I saw somebody. We're currently using NUnit, which is runnable by Visual Studio nowadays, I think. So, yeah. Right, Morten?
How will I know which branch to use?
Good question. Which branch should you use? Generally, it's recommended to use the default branch because I don't know when we can implement your patch, so on which version we can implement it. Yesterday at the hackathon we used the 4.10 branch because we were fairly certain that we want the changes on top of the new request handler, which is a bit different from the old one. So we wanted to make sure that we don't have to do double work. So, but generally it's good to do it on the default branch, and it's we don't have that many big changes in the future, so shouldn't have to work on the 4.10 branch or whatever it is then. Tom?
Can you talk about how to set up your web config for local development? Should you guys your own template or?
Right. No. I actually haven't set up my web config for that. Currently, how it's supposed to work, and that needs a little bit of tweaking, is if you once you hit F5 and there's no web config in place, it will just copy the template one, and then you just install Umbraco on top of that. So, and that doesn't get submitted to the it's an ignore file, so it doesn't get submitted to the main repo. So. And the other thing I just do is I hit the build.bat file that's in the core in the source, and just build a version of Umbraco, unzip it, open it up in WebMatrix, and I've got a version running, so I can do testing, and I don't have to think about whatever I've set up in the configs. It's just the default one. So. I don't. So there is templates that are based on machine names, and I don't exactly know how they work, and I've never wanted to figure out, so. Right. Morten?
Should my submission be covered by unit tests?
Well, as I said, your submission, I would love it for them to be covered by unit tests, but not everybody's as comfortable with doing that, so yes, please, but if you can't, then we'll forgive you. Especially you. No, you're not you, actually. Yes?
Is there a base test class I can use if I require databases?
Do you want to talk about unit testing on the core? Because I don't know exactly, because I'm not very familiar with unit tests. Can you tell me? Yeah, come up here. This is Morten.
Hi. So just want to mention a couple of things about the unit testing, because as you might have guessed, there is a base class that you can use if you're working with something that requires the database of some kind. There is actually a base class that you can inherit from, which will set up the database for you. So if you're writing a test or want to write tests that involves using actual data, then there is a base test class for that, which is quite handy. And we'll have a lot more of those in the future.
Right.
That's just what I want to say.
Mentioning your 6.0 work for inspiration on future, how the code base future.
Yes, there's a 6.0 branch currently, which I'm working on, which has a lot of unit tests, as we want better coverage in the future. So the entire data layer will be covered by unit test, and there are different base classes that you can use depending on what type of test you want to write. So right now I've been working on having test coverage for both SQL Server, SQL CE, and MySQL, so that you can ensure that whatever changes you're making will actually work in all three data providers. Yes?
Will the 6.0 branch merge its changes from the default branch before you actually build and release 6.0?
Yeah, it will.
Yeah, you're continually updating that.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah. Sorry. I'm constantly merging all of the changes into 6.0, which are happening in the 4.10 branch. So that is more or less up to date on a daily basis, but at least on a weekly basis. So it should be fairly up to date. Sorry.
Tom? Language file changes, those be made on GitHub CodePlex?
Yes, language file changes are, there's 2 GitHub projects. I don't have the links right now, but that's even easier to just hit the fork button, start editing inline, so that's just really easy, and then just say, generate pull request, and we don't have to check out your changes, we can just say, okay, accept it, and that's good. GitHub.org/Umbraco?
Yeah.
All right, there you go.
So we just make them on GitHub, not in the CodePlex request?
Yeah, so definitely on GitHub, yes. Language and documentation, yes. Yep. Anyone else? Going once? Yes.
Yeah, if you choose to work on an issue, is there a way of knowing whether another 10 people are working on that as well?
Is there a way of knowing if anybody else is working on an issue? I would recommend if you start working on something that you just comment that you're working on it, or ask us if somebody's working on it. So we don't always know, but generally people do leave comments when they start working on it. So yeah, in the issue tracker, that is. Right. So if that's all the questions, then I thank you for your attention. And the time we have. Thank you.